Hey everybody, happy Sunday. I'm Chef Kathy and I'm very excited to join you here tonight. Thanks for pausing to ponder with us. Tonight I want to share with you well, here we are in my kitchen, right? I just want to share with you some cooking tips. And what I'm going to share with you are related to knives. Okay, so I gotta say, I never thought knives was a big deal until I had really sharp knives. It's a huge deal. Do you know how easy it is to prepare food when your knife is totally sharp? Now, okay, so right, this is Pampered Chef knives. It's the only knives that I have anymore in my kitchen because they're amazing. They're amazing because they've thought of things like this is a full tang knife, which means the tip to the butt is all metal, all stainless steel. So this here, these little rivets, they're not really rivets. They're just for decoration. It's actually the black coating just has holes in it to show that full tang. Why this is valuable is because now it's not poking a hole into the metal, so it will never rust. I mean, that's a huge deal. And I love how Pampered Chef thinks of everything. This piece here is actually where your finger should go, and on the other side is where your thumb should go. When you're using a huge knife like this is how you use it to be safe, and you have full control over this knife. Now, here's the deal. This is very sharp, very sharp. When you use any knife, if you looked in a magnifying glass, it would start to look frayed. The actual blade right here, right there, would look frayed. Okay? When you sharpen your knives, you're actually shaving off those frayed pieces. That is going to thin your knife. This is really important to know and understand. You don't want to sharpen your knives, but maybe once every 2 years. And to sharpen them, you take them to the butcher shop and they'll sharpen them for you. But what you do want to do is you want to hone your knife. So what happens is that frayed piece of metal just comes back together and makes a sharp effect. So here, I'm going to show you my countertop here. Okay, and just show you that this is the honing tool, Pampered Chef's honing tool. This is for balance. And you just take your knife and you go through. And to be honest, I hone every time that I'm using my knives. Oh, sometimes that sound though drives me crazy. But by honing it, you can hear that there's something happening that is going to make even sharper of a knife. So you don't have to sharpen it by shaving off the metal pieces. You just have to hone your knives every time you use them, and you will always have an amazing sharp knife, right?
Right. So my motivation for this lesson was not to be a Pampered Chef commercial.
It just happens.
And I think it literally evolved into a Pampered Chef commercial.
No, it's my passion. It's what, I mean, seriously, I've never had a sharp knife until I got these, and now I'm like, I need to share it with the world because you're safer when your knife is sharper.
You know, but in all fairness, with these knives, they are unbelievable knives, and this is not a commercial because we're going to go somewhere from a leadership and a personal growth development perspective. But these knives with Pampered Chef,
I want to just back
they
up
are
a
my
little.
favorite thing that Pampered Chef has to offer because the knives, I mean, this is our Thanksgiving carving set. I'm glad that she's here because they're knives to me. But there is nothing I've ever operated. You know, I'm not a big fan of carving a turkey, but when I have these in my hand, it sure makes the job a lot easier. The knives are unbelievable. Whether it's that specialty or our knife block with all of the Pampered Chef knives, they just make life a little bit easier and
a lot easier.
A lot easier. That's fair.
Yeah.
A lot easier. But truly, it's from a perspective of having perfect tools like this knife or the carving set you said.
Yeah.
They're great to have because it makes our lives much easier when it comes time for application.
You know,
right?
it's no different than you having the right tools in your garage.
Right. Absolutely. We have probably multiple hammers for a reason. Maybe a heavier hammer. Screwdrivers.
Yeah.
We all have our favorite tools. And they're so important. And truly it makes things easier, more effective, and more efficient.
And more fun.
And more fun when you have the right tools. But here we go. We're no different.
We meaning
People.
human beings.
People are no different. Especially if you're a leader. Especially if you aspire to have personal growth in your life. We can start off with great content. We can start off with an inquisitive mind. But if we don't continuously hone our craft, before long, we can find ourselves kind of being
rusty.
Yeah.
Dull,
right? Absolutely.
no longer effective, and really no longer needed.
So a continual honing of ourselves, of our brains, of our mindsets, even of our attitudes. It requires of it.
Okay, so how do we
that's
do
what I was
this?
just going to say. Okay, so we talk about from an application, knives, very important to keep sharp. And then we talk about the need to stay sharp. But now let's talk a moment on the how that we're going to keep sharp. So let me ask you, how do you find yourself continuously honing your craft or your mindset or your attitude or whatever it may be?
Oh, it's who I'm listening to, who I'm reading, who I'm connected with, and it's every day. So I literally have it in my schedule. Every morning I will get about a 20-minute audio video speaking something kind of new, or maybe it's not new. Maybe it's old content, old knowledge, but it needs to be refreshed. You know, I just went to I had a webinar about a week ago. And I talked to other leaders in my organization, and one of my friends says, I've heard it before. It's just the same old thing. It's the same stuff. I hear it all the time. And I said, yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying. But then how come my notebook paper is full? If I've heard this before, how come I still come back with a list? It's because I can't adapt all these great ideas the first time I hear them. We only adapt like 3 things. So I need to continually hear stuff and change my systems, change my habits and my schedules until now it's part of my daily routine. That doesn't happen the first time I hear it. So I have to surround myself with the right voices based on the direction I want to go.
That's really good. If you think about, we're people of faith, you guys probably know that by now. How many times have you read a scripture and then that scripture ministers in a different way to you? We call it being dynamic. But truly, scripture can address different things at different times in different walks that we find ourselves into. Leaders, good people that you've put around you, are the same way. They can deliver maybe the same message, but they're dynamic enough to put a little tweak on it, or they know the situation that maybe today I might share the same message I shared a year ago, but now I'm going to apply it to certain things. So truly, it's what voice are you listening to, right? That keeps you sharp?
I have a great friend, coach, mentor. Her name is Shellen, and she challenges me. And just this past Friday, we talk every Friday. And this past Friday, we were talking, I was sharing a frustration, and she's like, Kathy, you teach this stuff. Why are you not doing it in this example? Thanks for totally calling me out. But you know what? It's so true. I can teach it, but I don't always revert it or convert it into my brain on the application side. So I need these people in my life more than just my husband, because sometimes I don't receive him. Sorry.
That's fair.
It's fair. I need other people, and that almost brings confirmation when you hear it from more than one source.
So we talk about the importance of honing our stuff, whether it be a knife, and we talked about the importance of honing ourselves. And now, Kathy, you're talking a little bit about the application of being able to be honed, allow yourself to be exposed to being sharpened, and whether that's being challenged or surrounding yourself by people who deliver a like-minded message, something that you truly believe in or a passion that you may have.
It's also a message that's a step above where my mind is.
Correct.
So when you say like-minded, I also want to hear from people that aren't like my mind, that I get to make a decision whether I want to follow what you're saying or not, because it's so different. I want to kind of entertain that a little bit, open my mind to that different approach.
I remember a teaching that John Maxwell shared with us. I don't think he made this quote, but I remember him saying it, that if you're the smartest person in the class, you're probably in the wrong class, because you're not going to be challenged. You're not going to continue to grow. In fact, the opposite might happen, and we might become complacent if we are the smartest person in the class. John also talks about how to aspire for greatness, we all have uphill aspirations. But if we're not careful, we're going to find ourselves with downhill habits. So we have to constantly challenge ourselves.
Yeah.
And one great way of doing that, not the only way, but a great way of doing that, is surrounding yourself by people who will challenge you. And maybe that requires them to be a little bit smarter than you. Maybe their leadership skills are a little bit greater than yours. We had an opportunity to spend time with a couple that I think fall under this category, exactly what we're talking about, this weekend. John and
spend time during the pandemic.
Virtually. But we were able to spend time with John and Antoinette Griffin. And those are exactly two people that we feel that way about, is that they're going to challenge us. They're going to make us see things a little bit deeper than maybe what we do. But the list goes on and on. We have a lot of people in our lives. You mentioned Shellen. There's people in my life that continuously challenges me. Exposure to them, whether it's in real life, one-on-one or virtual. I know I sit on a call on Tuesday nights with one person who definitely challenges my mindset. I love it. My mentor for coaching. There's no one in my life that challenges me more than Christian Simpson. That is why I listen to him, is because he's always challenging me. But I have to be, you used the word earlier, intentional.
Yeah.
You have to be intentional with this ability. Because, guys, we can become complacent. And I don't want to go back through and reteach this whole lesson. But you have to be intentional, and you have to want to grow constantly.
Here's another group of people that definitely challenges me. And in the world we're living in right now, it's even probably more common that you're going to be connecting with these people, my parents and my kids. And I haven't always received it from my parents or my children. But I remember when I was younger, my mom would say things like, "Oh, wow, you teach me so much." And I'm like, what? I'm a kid, right? I get it now. I get it. So, we're around these people more often. Now we can venture out into the virtual world and we can find other things to listen to or books to read or connect with people all over the world. But pay attention to who's right here.
Yeah.
Because you may not always like it, but they're definitely going to be honest with you.
And different parts of our lives as well. Like last night, we had game night with our church friends. And from a spiritual aspect, it does me good to hang out with my pastor.
Absolutely.
Because he helps me look at things differently. And it's all positive. It makes me look at, he challenges me to look at it from a godly mindset. Now, we're not righteous. Don't get us wrong. We're not sitting above everyone. But a righteous person is one who tries to do that which is right. Okay, that's what a righteous person is. One who's trying. We're trying. And my pastor also challenges me to think about things like that.
Yeah, so our challenge to you is, how are you going to sharpen your sword? And how have you already sharpened your sword this weekend or the past week? Pay attention to who you're listening to, who you're surrounding yourself with, whether it's virtually or literally. It matters. Your inner circle, who you're connected with, absolutely will dictate your success in life.
Very good. Thank you for tuning in to Pause to Ponder. Give us a thumbs up if you like what we're doing. Certainly comment. Let us know how you're keeping your knife sharp, your knife inside here sharp.
Oh, you know what? The Chef Kathy page and the Unity Consulting page, two other great pages to help you keep yourself
now
sharp.
That was a South Edge commercial. Thank you, everyone.
We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.